The sponsor for this episode of The Stand is My Case. When you're running a law firm, trust isn't just important, it's everything. And that's why more than 19,000 law firms rely on My Case to keep their practices running smoothly. My Case is a legal practice management software that helps you stay organized, deliver better outcomes for your clients, and grow your firm with confidence. By optimizing their day-to-day operations, firms collect payments faster, 3 times faster in fact, and handle up to 38% more cases. You'll also get real-time insights to make smarter business decisions, all in one place. Ready to see how My Case can set your firm up for success? Head to www.mycase.com/thestand to get started.
Hello, Lemonaders. It's Alan Wilson from GLJ Benefit Consultants, and welcome to another edition of The Stand, our podcast on the Lemonade for Legal Network, where we discuss expert solutions to modern law firm issues. Today, we're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. We have 4-time Lemonhead and expert Michael Cohen. Michael, welcome to The Stand.
Thank you, Big Al. It is so nice to be here. Really appreciate
it. It sounds better when I say welcome to The Stand instead of please take the stand, right?
I mean, look, 1A, either way is good.
In your world. We are so happy to have Duane Morris's own Michael Cohen here with us. And Michael, you really need no introduction, certainly to our listenership and within the legal industry. But I have to tell you, this is the first time since we've known each other, and we've known each other a long time and been friends a long time. I actually read your bio. And
why?
Well, it was like the first time I actually got like all the way down to it. But I got to tell you, man, there's some things here that I did not know.
No.
Okay, so Michael this is crazy. It's great, but Michael has been cited as a national authority on employment issues by the New York Times, the Associated Press, USA Today, MSNBC.com, HR Magazine, SHRM Online, Employment Law 360, Inside Counsel Magazine, as well as other publications. Michael also serves on the advisory board, a member of Gen Her Nation, as a board member of Serve Inc. Dude, what is it that you haven't done, man? You know what?
Listen, the only one other than my mom that's impressed by that apparently is you. You and Susan Cohen. That is all. My kids don't care. My wife doesn't care. No one I meet cares. Just you and my mom.
Well, I love it. And look, you know what? Thanks for joining us. I know that you're home in Philly, and I'm sure it's probably snowing. We are in the beautiful Vibe Media Studios. We're outside in Phoenix. It's like 72 or something like that. Something horrendous. But hey, thank you so much for coming on and joining us. We've had a conversation prior to getting together, and we've got 22 minutes together here to really get to a core issue inside of law firms and then provide a solution. That's what our listeners are looking for. That's what it's all about. So when we talked pre-show, we talked about the importance and what is happening today surrounding mental health inside of law firms.
Yeah.
Let's have a little conversation about that. What is your experience? I know that you talk about it, but what is your experience within law firms and how you talk about mental health?
Sure. So first of all, thank you for that incredibly kind introduction, Al. I appreciate it. We're doing better. We're not where we need to be, but we're doing better. We're paying attention to it. Let's start here, right? National Alliance on Mental Illness has provided us with some pretty staggering statistics, somewhere in the neighborhood of 26% of all Americans 18 years and older have a diagnosable mental health disorder each year. The rate of suicidal ideation has increased every year since 2011. Stress and distraction increased 25% since 2018. And those numbers, by the way, from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, one of the foremost authorities on mental health in workplaces, those numbers aren't right. There's no way those numbers are right because there's still unfortunately, a stigma associated with the disclosure of a mental health condition. But those numbers to me are terrifying. And then there's the one that really, really worries me, and particularly in the context of the law firm environment, and that is the average period of time between the onset of mental health symptoms and the receipt of treatment among Americans is 11 years. And you just kind of have to sit with that number for a second, because question I was asked is, would you allow a physical manifestation of some kind of an illness to go on for 11 years before you sought treatment? And Alan, you know me well enough. I got into the law because it was my understanding there'd be no math. But even with my limited math skills, with that 11 years, that means for every person that seeks treatment in year one, there's somebody else that waits 21 years. And so much of it is born of our unwillingness to embrace the fact that mental health affects all of us. Mental health, we all deal with a mental health concern at some point in our lives. Robin Williams, one of my favorite people ever on this planet, attributed to him as my favorite thing anybody's ever said out loud in front of other people, which is, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. And I don't know that truer words have ever been said. And put that statement right in the context of law firm mental health. And what we would understand is, intuitively, as law firm leaders, as constituents in a law firm, we understand it to be true that, of course, everybody's dealing with stuff. And then we push it in the back and we keep it buried under all the crap. And we never get to that notion, and we never get to that appreciation or that kindness. So we're better.
I think that's the huge, that you make such a great point here, that it's manifesting itself within each person, but we may not recognize it. And those that are around, or we do recognize it, but we don't want to deal with it.
And I think that's a huge piece of it, Alan. It's either we don't want to, or we don't know how. We're not prepared. Like, somebody, heaven forbid, poo, knock on wood, this never happens. Somebody is diagnosed with a disease, a kidney disease, cancer. We're kind of wired to know how to address that. As sad as that is, we kind of know what to do. Mental health is very different, because there is kind of nothing more personal. And the parable that people probably have heard me use, but I think it absolutely demonstrates what we need to do and how we need to address it. And this guy's walking down the street and he falls into a hole and he can't get out. And a few minutes after he falls into the hole, a doctor walks by, and the doctor writes out a prescription, throws him into the hole, keeps walking. A few minutes after that, a member of the clergy walks by, writes out a prayer, throws it into the hole, keeps on walking. A few minutes after that, a leader walks by. And without hesitation, the leader jumps in the hole. And the guy in the hole is looking at the leader and is stunned. He's like, "What are you doing? Now we're both down here." And the leader looks at him and he says, "Yes, but I've been down here before and I know the way out." And anytime I talk to law firm leadership, I ask them point blank, what are you doing to get in the hole with your people? And tragically, there are too many leaders that do what the doctor and the member of the clergy do. They provide some kind of token advice and just go about their day and pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's, I think we're getting right to that core, right? We're getting to that core of what the issue is, right? So I've been taking some notes here. And these are not just notes from today's podcast. These are notes that I have had when I've listened to you, or I've seen, your your broadcasts and your LinkedIn, and, certainly your presentations. So I think I try to capsulize it here. So how can law firm leaders better embrace and demonstrate the importance of mental health to firm members? So that's getting in the hole. So
Sure.
do you agree? You think that that's really the challenge?
That's part of it. I think that's part of the answer. Part of the answer is getting in the hole. Part of the answer is actually being willing to lead. It's being able to recognize that there are members of our firms, our communities. Forget about family. I hate that metaphor, referring to work. We're not a family, but they're members of our community, all of us together for a common goal. Members of our community who are struggling day to day. The world is weird. The world is complicated. It is confusing, and in moments, really scary. And the more we as leaders can impress upon our constituents that we understand that, we get it, we appreciate how hard it is for some people, for most people, on a day-to-day basis. And there are things we can do. And it's interesting, Alan, because it's not create this grand initiative that costs the firm hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are steps that take work. Creating a culture of listening inside of your firm, so that employees feel like when they talk to you, that they're heard, that you're actually going to do something with the information that you've just obtained, as opposed to, I'm just going to talk and talk and talk. It's going to go in one ear out the other, and nothing's ever going to become of it. At which point people stop talking.
Right. Yeah. So you're right on. So I think that we've identified what the issue is, and we're going to come right back and we're going to talk about solutions. So everybody stick around. We'll be right back.
Why do 60,000 legal professionals choose MyCase as a partner in their success? Designed specifically for law firms, MyCase offers industry-leading business management software to help you convert leads and get clients onboarded quickly with dynamic online forms. Foster collaboration using cloud-based case management and secure communication portals. Streamline tasks and workflows with tailored legal AI. And experience unparalleled financial control with built-in spend management and legal accounting. Freeing your focus for high-impact work, helping you to deliver exceptional service every time. So why MyCase? Because your law firm deserves a partner as dynamic and dedicated as you. MyCase, practice management made simple.
Hey, we are back. We're back with Michael Cohen from Duane Morris, and we are talking about mental health and creating an environment of support around mental health. Specifically, the challenge that we're talking about is how can law firm leaders better embrace and demonstrate the importance of mental health to firm members. So, Michael, I think we've identified the issue. Let's talk about solution. Let's talk about those things that law firms can do that are tangible, that have value.
Sure. So we talked about doing a better job of embracing these notions and creating this culture of listening, or started talking about it. And when we talk about this culture of listening, it's non-competitive listening. It's allowing somebody to speak and not interrupting them. It's allowing someone to speak and not sharing your thoughts or your experiences, which usually are incredibly helpful, until after they are done speaking. When an employee comes to a leader, there's a catharsis, hopefully, by the end of this conversation. They feel like they've unburdened themselves. If you're engaging in what's called competitive listening, where you're constantly interrupting, where you're starting to formulate your thoughts before the other person is done speaking, you've effectively stopped listening, certainly listening as effectively as you might otherwise be able to listen. So at the risk of sounding abrupt, like, shut up, let the person talk, absorb in a compassionate way, in an engaged way what the person has to say, and then share those experiences, share those thoughts. Alan, share those resources that the firm actually provides to its employees that the employees just might not know about, right? We talk about the notion of equity in mental health all the time, the understanding that people come to our workplace with disparities, having had different experiences or not, different opportunities or not. And there were so many people, and are so many people, who have been raised to believe that mental health concerns weren't real or that they were a weakness. So we have to in some way communicate to those people that they are real. Not only are they real, they're not in any way a sign of a weakness. And there are resources that our firm hopefully provides to those employees. Resources like, for example, a mental health employee resources group. And there's still pushback from time to time about mental health ERGs. Well, if we form a mental health ERG, the person might disclose. My response to which is, right. So now we're in a position to help. Employee assistance programs, EAPs, which I know, Alan, you can speak to, that are really so magnificently helpful when they're done right.
Yeah, it's really the Association of Legal Administrators reached out to us during COVID. And I got a call from the then president at that time. And she called me and she said, we need an EAP. We need a behavioral health program. We need the best. We need something right away. Can you find it? So we did. We did. Obviously, we did our research, and we found an EAP that is robust. It has crisis line. It has access to counselors. It has it covers all the behavioral health. It covers the family. So those are pieces that I know that law firms are acquiring, and that they are offering, or they're buying for their members, and certainly for all of the employees in their firms. We know that they're available. Some firms have done it. Others may not even know that they're available. But those that do have it, the big challenge there is then continually communicating that it's available. Yep. Because it's like anything else, right? You get dental insurance, and gee, okay, I don't need it, and I don't even know I even have it, because I think I renewed it, during the medical renewal, but my tooth hurts. Do I have something? So, well, yes. And then, the administrator is going crazy trying to, saying, well, we had an enrollment and we did all of this, but it's the same and even more pronounced when it is an EAP or when it's a behavioral health tool, because people don't like to reach out and say, hey, I need that. Right. So it's that constant communication that needs to come from the leadership.
And it's not just the constant communication in the form of reminders, which are important, right? I think most firms still struggle with how much is too much, because you get to too much and people start automatically deleting emails. So once we find that balance, which is not an easy balance to find,
yes,
it's not just the reminders of its existence. It's reminders like, we take mental health seriously. We encourage you. It's not just there. We encourage you to reach out and to get help. We will not get this information. It is strictly confidential. While we are here in any and every way conceivable to help you, we're not going out to the EAP and finding out who's calling them, and the EAP isn't coming to us and letting us know. It is completely confidential. Right. Alan, something else an EAP can do, and it's staggering to me how poorly firms use employee assistance programs. Some firms do a really nice job with providing mental health first aid to people who are interested. In most cases, your EAP will send somebody to teach that to the people in your firm for little to no cost. And all you got to do is throw pizza or hoagies. Yeah, I called them hoagies. Pizza or hoagies at your firm members, and they'll come.
They will. Yeah.
And everybody's happy for being fed, but you've provided a meaningful service that's tangible that they can use to hopefully help other people, help themselves as well, but certainly help other people. There's so much can be done at relatively little cost. And we still have back in my day out there, right? Back in my day, which is not so veiled code for I am who I am. I'm never going to change. And I always go back to Billy Beane in Moneyball, right? Adapt or die. Hyperbolic, maybe a little bit, but it's 2025 and you better get with where we need you to be. And back in my day, we'll say things like, well, providing mental health benefits or providing mental health, it costs too much. And my response to that is always the same. A, no, it doesn't. From a pure dollars and cents standpoint, it doesn't. And B, that doesn't account for productivity loss. It doesn't account for retention or attrition or loss of institution or industry or firm knowledge that happens when we lose people and good people because we've not provided the support that they really need and that we could have done relatively easily.
Michael, look, this conversation has just been fantastic. I can't even believe that we're at time already. So we're going to have to do a part. We're going to do a part two. We're going to have you back, and we're absolutely going to do a part two. We love having four-time Lemonhead Michael Cohen. Michael, do you have anything that some final thoughts could wrap us up here?
I'm not sure there's anything, particularly as we sit here today, as we're filming this out in the beginning of April of 2025. The world is getting incredibly complicated with each day that passes. That is not a political statement. That is a statement of reality. And the more that we as leaders can continue to check in with our people, to ask the question, how can I be of service to you as it relates to work and non-work, the more we are willing to take the time that we don't think we have, but we do, to spend it with some of the people we work with to find out if they're okay. And yeah, I understand it. From an employment lawyer standpoint, those are not always the most legally advisable conversations. But we got to be in a position to help. That's our role as leaders. We got to get in the hole every single day.
Yeah, I love it. So how do people reach out to you? People know how to get a hold of us, and we'll talk to you about the EAP all day long. And if you're interested in doing something like that. But Michael, tell me how people reach out to Michael Cohen. How do people reach out to you to talk about this amazing topic? And just your wealth of knowledge on it. How do people reach out to you on this?
The way people reach out to people, you can go find Duane Morris's website, DuaneMorris, and I'm on there. The place I spend a great deal of time these days is on LinkedIn, trying to post as much content as I possibly can that is practical and that speaks to the issues that leaders in law firms, leaders in all organizations confront on a day-to-day basis. You were kind enough to mention to me earlier, Alan, that you were enjoying some of the videos that I had started posting earlier this year, and they've been super fun to do, and the feedback's been great. But a lot of the mental health content is baked into really almost everything we do on a day-to-day basis. So LinkedIn, Duane Morris website, old school telephone, 215-979-1882. However, I can't even believe I remember my work number. It's all cell, but any of those forms. The easiest is probably LinkedIn. If you put in Michael Cohen, you will not find me. We're everywhere, and most of us are lawyers. But if you put in Michael Cohen and Duane Morris, you'll find me pretty quickly.
Mike, thanks for being on the stand. Love it. Peace.
Thanks so much, Alan.